Welcome to WVNG Ed Talks, a simple discussion about sometimes complex military education benefits. I'm Dr. Sherri Shafer, Education Services Officer for the West Virginia National Guard. Nearly 2 years ago, if you can believe it, we took a look at the value of making the grade in terms of passing classes while participating in the state tuition assistance program. We also touched on the recoupment process. Today, we want to revisit the topic of recoupments in further detail and hopefully help our service members to avoid the pitfall. Joining me is Miss Lisa Jordan, our WVEEP Program Director, aka our State Tuition Assistance Program Director. Welcome back to Ed Talks.
Hi, it's nice to be back. It's hard to believe it's been 2 years.
I know, that's crazy, isn't it?
It truly is.
It's like time just flies when you're having fun, I guess.
Or in quarantine, but whatever.
Right? So first off, tell me about our state TA program again, the West Virginia Education Encouragement Program, or WVEP. So who can participate? How does the program work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera?
Okay. First of all, anyone that is a good standing member of the Air Guard or Army Guard can participate. You can't be flagged for height, weight, PT, any adverse actions. You can't be flagged. But you'll get $7,000 per fiscal year to go to any in-state school that covers tuition and class-associated fees.
So $7,000 per fiscal year. You're talking about state fiscal year, right?
Yes, that is July 1 to 30 June.
Because I think that gets a little confusing because we have state and we have federal, and it's like,
yes, it does.
So what are the main reasons why someone would be facing recoupment from the state tuition assistance program?
A lot of people will withdraw from a class and just withdraw from it, and we've already paid for it, so we have to recoup that money, or they'll fail a class. And if they fall below 12 hours for an undergraduate, which is considered full-time, I have to recoup on that. And then for a graduate, if you fall below 9 hours, I have to recoup on that.
So do you see a lot of recoupments each term?
I'm seeing less and less. It was probably about maybe 4%, and now we're down to 1 to 2%. Last semester we had, I think, 10, which is really good considering we had over 400 applicants.
Yeah, but for those 10, that's still
it's
no
rough.
fun.
Yeah, no, but it's getting better. So
well, that's good because I was going to ask you about those trends. And are you seeing it more in the undergraduates or in the graduates?
Yes, most of it is first-time freshmen, and I think they just get to school and don't know how to act, if you will. You know, they have to study on their own. You know, they're responsible for themselves. And I think sometimes something just has to give, and that's their grades. Or, you know, they want to go out and have a little too much fun, perhaps, or they just have a too big of caseload.
That's what I was thinking. It might also be the caseload as well, because not everybody's out there just partying away and, you know.
No, but
sometimes they bite off more than they can chew, literally.
Absolutely.
So is it possible for a service member to fail or withdraw and not be in trouble? You said, you know, if you fall below 12 hours or 9 hours if you're a graduate, is it possible to not get in trouble if are there certain situations where that happens?
Yes. One, you can do a military withdrawal if like you come on orders or something like that. And that is you have to go through the bursar's office. And that the whole semester is kind of forgiven, if you will. But if you're an undergraduate and you do, say you're taking 18 hours and you withdraw from a class and then you fail a class, you're still going to be, if you're still at 12 hours, because if that's 2 classes, technically you should be at 12 hours, that's still full time. So the cost for 12 hours and 18 hours is the same. So, of course, I wouldn't recoup on that because the cost would be the same.
Right.
So there is a way to get past it. You know, just because you fail a class doesn't mean that you can't use the program again, doesn't mean any of that. You just have to pay the recoupment, paid in full, then you can use the program again also.
I think a lot of people panic because they're like, I don't get to do it anymore. But like you said, right your ship, essentially. Get yourself in good standing again, Pay the bill, and move on. And I assume the key is to look at what you're dropping or failing. So if you have a 4-hour, say, a biology class, it's got a 3-hour class in a lab, then, if that drops you below that 1 hour, now you're at 11, that's when you still have to pay that 1 hour, correct?
Right, but 1 hour is much better than 4.
Right. You just really kind of have to watch the math a little bit. And I guess the thing is to be successful in class and pay attention to what you're doing.
And if you're concerned about a course, I always suggest, kind of padding your schedule. If you're concerned about one class, then take a few easy classes. And, take an extra class. That way, if you do have to withdraw from that class, it's not going to kill you with a recoupment.
I think that's where talking to your advisor comes in handy.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you've got a good advisor, too, because the ones that really know the courses that, if you're taking that really difficult microbiology or organic chemistry, those would just terrify me at this point.
I took those together.
Oh, wow, you are a glutton for punishment. Or, I don't know, calculus, something that's difficult, or an engineering course, I don't know, I'm just throwing things out there. But if you really communicate with that advisor and you tell them up front, I think I'm going to struggle with this class, can we try to get me something to balance out? I think you're right. That usually does help a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And pad that number of hours that you're taking. So I can imagine that our service members could perceive that you're kind of the bad guy when it comes to state tuition assistance. You sit over there in your office and you just sort of rub your hands together and get an evil cackle and wait to recoup. But, that isn't the case at all, is it?
No, not at all. One, I am the one that also approves your applications. So let's just,
Get
I'm
that
not
out
bad.
there.
Yes, I'm not bad, I promise. But I don't want you to fail at all. I don't want anyone to fail. I want everyone to succeed. And I feel like we're getting better. 10 recoupments for one semester is pretty impressive because before that was my sole job was recoupments. Wow. And I was always busy.
So how can they, you made the recommendation to, I guess I'm just kind of summing this up. So pad your hours if you know you're going to have a difficult class. Have those good conversations with your advisors. Is there any other advice you would give to students who know they're going to be going into a particularly tough semester from your experience as a student in the past? Maybe tutoring, I don't know.
And talk to your friends because I'm sure, with me, a lot of my friends had the same classes that I did, maybe a year or two ahead of me. And, take notes, study, flashcards. I'm a big flashcard girl. I love flashcards.
My daughter's that way. That didn't work for me, though. I guess know how you study, and there's lots of tests you can take, not exams as in tests, but there's a lot of, almost like those personality tests you can take, but tests that can show you what type of studier,
yes,
that's a word, that studier. You are. Yeah, how you study, that's a better way to phrase that. If someone does fail or withdraw from a course, then what happens?
Typically, we have to wait to the end of the semester to see all their grades. And then after I see all the grades, I calculate their recoupment, if there is one. That's why I'm always I need the hours completed. I need your GPA and your hours completed. Because if you're still at 12 hours, then nothing's going to happen. But if, you fall below 12, I will recoup on the hours that you are below 12. Not the whole class unless, it's 3 or 4 hours below. But that's why I need those grades.
So not only does the service member need to communicate with their teachers and their advisors, but they also have to communicate with you, right?
Yes, please.
And this is required. This is something that's required of you through the regulation that oversees this program, correct?
Yes, and in order to get approved for the next semester, I have to have your grades. You will not go next semester if I don't have your grades.
And I think coming up in the future, we're going to be looking at requiring folks to provide graduation records too, correct?
Yes. I actually, when I speak to the service members, I'm like, hey, if you graduate, can you, download a copy of your diploma, something that states that you finished the course.
I think right now, though, that's optional.
Yes.
But, hot off the presses, that's coming in the future. Yeah. It's going to be mandatory. You might get a recoupment for that, right?
Yes.
She's sitting over there in her office just planning. No.
That's right. Got my pens ready.
Well, Lisa, we appreciate you for being here today. We thank you so much for all this information, giving us the scoop on the recoups in more detail. Hopefully, the information you provided will help our service members to stay on the right path and be successful. Join us next time on WVNG Ed Talks when we will meet with one of our service members and get a first-hand perspective on the value of utilizing our various education benefits. WVNG Ed Talks. Tune in, turn it up, and join the conversation.